What's up? Random video. So this is not a cooking tutorial or anything like that. I don't consider myself that advanced of a cook to be doing some type of cooking tutorial. But I'm making a pot of North Dakota beans, and I make beans in an interesting way. And I don't hear a lot of people doing it, but I read an article about it. So I want to post a video. See what y'all think. That needs to boil. So instead of making beans in a slow cooker or even on the stove, I need that to really kind of be simmering or something. I make them in the Dutch oven pot, and I actually put the beans in the oven. Not on 400. 400 is for the cornbread, which I'm about to make in a second, which is actually Jiffy. My dad likes Jiffy, so he likes it because it's sweet. Anything sweet he loves. I prefer like just a regular like yellow cornmeal cornbread, maybe with a little bit of sugar in it, but definitely not as sweet as Jiffy. Especially for something like northern beans, which is like white beans, kind of like navy beans. But listen, this is what I do, and I know a lot of people don't do it, so if you see this video, let me know what you would think, if you would try it, what you would do differently. But I don't soak the beans. I don't pre-soak them like by boiling them for an hour. I don't soak them overnight. Instead, I'll just rinse them and sort through them. And I'll make my stock, whatever it is, first on the stove, because honestly, when you do the beans in the oven, even from dry, they only take like a couple hours to cook. And they'll be on about maybe 300, 325, or even 350. I've noticed that the temperature doesn't really seem to matter as much as making sure there's enough liquid in the pot and that you're checking it and it's not drying out. And so this time it's going to be a lot of liquid, so I'm not concerned about that. But what I do is make the stock and stuff on the stove first, especially if I'm using like a smoked meat or, well, really smoked turkey legs or smoked turkey tails, which I love smoked turkey tails, and red beans and pinto beans. But this time I'm just using ham. So it's not even going to cook that long on the stove. But I do need it to cook soon. It was too long. Anyway, so for northern beans, I'm just doing like simple flavors. Bell peppers, onions, a few cloves of garlic. Sauteed that in some butter, made a little bit of roux with a little bit of flour to that, and then actually threw a lot of honey baked ham in there because we had a whole lot of honey baked ham left over from a family dinner we had. Kind of sauteed that down, rendered a little fat, got a little bit of a sear on the bottom of the thing, and then I added my broth and more water. And then my seasonings, which for northern beans, I'm just doing like salt, pepper, a pinch of Cajun seasoning. There's rainbow peppercorn that my sister got from Trader Joe's. See if that adds any kind of peppery flavor. Black pepper. What else did I put? I think that was about it. Oh, and some thyme. Because I'm not going for like intense or spicy flavors like you might with some Cajun red beans or something. I just want like some mellow, peppery, kind of sweet flavors. I would have did celery too if I had it, but I didn't have it. I forgot to get it. But it's beans, like it'll be good either way. So I do that, cook this down a little bit, let that ham start to render and break down. And I really want the ham to really kind of start to break apart and disintegrate in this. So it needs to boil a little bit. It needs to be hotter. Like I said, I don't consider myself like an expert or anything, but I love beans. I love making a pot of beans, and I'm always learning, kind of different ways to do stuff. So every pot of beans gets better each time. Like what I used to do was I would throw the meat in there with the water, a little broth, some seasoning, but it wouldn't be enough to like exchange flavors with the smoked meat. So by the time it was all done, if you were to get a chunk of meat in your spoonful of beans while you're eating, that meat might taste a little flat or bland, even though the beans themselves would taste great. And I didn't like that. I'm like, well, I need an even exchange of flavor. So that's when I started realizing I need to fully flavor the broth and the liquid, even when the ham is in there, or whatever meat I'm using is in there, so that as it simmers and over time, it exchanges flavors and the meat still retains well, it doesn't retain it, but the meat has kind of that flavor from the liquid, as the liquid takes some of that flavor from the meat. And then when you finally sit down to eat dinner, you get a nice, savory, well-seasoned chunk of meat in your food. But like I said, I want this to kind of really break apart. So I'm gonna let this not boil, but you know, simmer for a little bit longer. Keep a lot of that liquid. And when the time comes, I'll just throw it in the oven and put the lid on, and it just cooks. But right now I'm about to make this cornbread, and then maybe I'll show y'all what it looks like when it's done. I don't know. I know it'll taste good. Like, that's not my concern about that. But I'm just interested to see if anybody else has heard this, done it, tried it. Would you be willing to? And it's quicker than you think, especially if you're not using any meats. If you're just doing the beans and you don't have like any ham or smoked turkey meat or anything, you could just season up your broth or whatever, get it boiling, and then throw that in the oven, and it would be done in a couple of hours. Like, honestly, I will never use a slow cooker again. I especially won't be cooking beans on a stovetop again, because I find like the bottom of the pot, it gets kind of tricky with whatever's happened down there, as opposed to getting an evenly cooked heat throughout. And sometimes you'll get, you know, a slight burn at the bottom, or mush your beans at the bottom, and you can avoid all that, but you really gotta tend to it. So avoid all that. And I don't want to be sitting here attending to this thing for a couple of hours. So rather throw it in the oven, keep enough liquid in there, check it occasionally. Like lately, I don't even check it anymore when I know I have enough liquid. And then I'm fine. Like, it's so easy. It's crazy. It's almost foolproof. So if I find a link to that article, I'll put it in the description or something. But let me know if this is something. Now we got it. There we go. Let me know if this is something you tried, or if you would do it or whatever. And yeah, that's kind of wild. This is more what I want. A nice boil, or I don't know, a hard simmer, or whatever you would call it. I need some of that liquid to reduce. Lid not completely on. A little bit more heat. Not a whole lot. Let's see. Cornbread is in the oven. Can y'all see it? Almost done. Almost done. But since it's so thick, I needed to cook a little bit more on the inside. I already broiled the top, which was a mistake because it wasn't even done yet. But at least I didn't take it out, so a few more minutes. Cornbread, I almost left it in there too long. But still haven't even put the beans in the oven yet. Usually I do the cornbread after the beans are done completely. But usually I start earlier in the day too. And I might actually have to leave for about 30-40 minutes. So just want to give myself a little time. So I just threw the cornbread in first. Knock that out. And so this probably won't be done until it's like, what? 5 o'clock. I have to turn this down now. So I only need that about 3:25. So we'll probably be done at 7, 8. Late dinner, but it'll be better tomorrow anyway. And I love leftovers, so I'll be looking forward to packing some up, taking it to work for a few days. So let's see what we get when it's all done. The beans are in there. Bringing it back to a boil real quick. Just give it a couple minutes maybe. Then throwing it in the oven on 325. Let it go a little slow. Oh, take that lid off. And put the rack lower so I have a good clearance. Look at all that fire. Fire. I'm gonna need both of my hands for this, so as soon as I get a little more of a boil, throw the lid on. Use my mitt and this towel, throw it in the oven. Boom, maybe check it at about 7 o'clock. We getting there. 7:16, I done ran my errand. Let's see what we working with. Oh, let's stir that up. 325 might be too low. They plumping. I still got a lot of liquid. Keeping that lid on. Make sure ain't nothing sticking at the bottom. Which it shouldn't, because honestly, even though this rack is pretty low, it's just not the same as that direct heat from having that fire right up under it. So every time you stir it, you get a good, you know, good feeling on the bottom. Nothing is sticking. Look at that meat. Look at that ham. Alright. It's probably going to be another hour and a half, maybe. I don't know. I'll check it at 8. 8:30. I'm watching TV. Alright, I don't know. I kept it on 325. It's kind of low. So they might not be done. They look good. I don't know how. Let's see. It's not done. I was expecting it to be a little thicker because I did a little flour roux. See, the beans look soft. Smashing up pretty good. I like doing this too because, like, you end up with a smooth, like, buttery, just texture. They're not mushy. They're usually consistent throughout. Like, it's not like half of them are done and half are not. So, they seem like they might be done. I'm smashing it against the side. And it's been like, what? I don't even remember when I started. Put them here like, what, 5:30? 3 hours, they should be done. But I just thought it would be a little thicker than this. Anyways, whatever. Probably tastes good. Let me get a spoon. See what we're working with. Okay, let's taste it a little bit. Ooh. So I put enough liquid in there because I didn't want to be bothered with checking it and stuff. And I thought with the flour it would thicken up a little more than this, but it looks like it's just thick enough. I'm pretty sure these are done, but let me taste it. Oh, man. Okay, I can't put that back. I want some more. Okay. The beans are perfect. I need to make something else. So I can't turn the oven off, but I need to get these out of here. I'm making some baked chicken and potatoes. Like, I work late in the day, so I will be up tonight for a while. Like, I was never really going to have dinner at a normal time. And my dad doesn't even live here, so I have to pack some of this up and take it to them tomorrow before I go to work. But what I'm doing is just trying to make enough stuff to eat for the work week and not have to think about it. So I'm going to make some garlic lime, baked chicken, and some roasted potatoes. And then we'll have beans and cornbread. And I have to make some type of steamed vegetable or something to go with it. So these are done. They taste good. I'm about to take them out the oven. I'm just going to get me some for now. Not a whole lot. And then I'm going to have to pack up. What is going on here? Alright. That looks pretty good to me. Oh, the beans. And you see the pork, ham broke down a little bit more. Let's see what this big chunk is doing. Can I break that skin? Yep, okay. So that skin broke. Yeah, that's tender enough for me. I'll take it. The beans are done. I couldn't let it cook anymore. So that's what I was saying. Like, the beans themselves don't actually take that long in the oven. For whatever reason. If I had put it up higher, it probably would have cooked even quicker. Not like really quick, because you still don't want to do it too quick. But I've done this in 2 hours before. Like 2 hours and they were just done. And as much as I would like to cook this and let it thicken a little more, the beans are just ready. So this is what we got. I'm going to cut some of this up, pack that up. Actually, half of this is probably going over there. Make me a piece of cornbread. Ow! What am I doing? I need a fork. I don't like cutting stuff in my little cast iron skillet, so I'm always so careful, but still. And then like my cornbread right in my beans. Oh. Maybe a little bit more. So yeah, if you like them thicker, obviously less liquid than I used. You wouldn't have to fill it to the brim. I used a whole 2-pound bag of beans. I can't even tell you how much honey baked ham I put in here. It was a lot. So, and I don't even know how many quarts this thing is, this Dutch oven. But you know, with black people, we don't always measure. You know, we just put enough in there until the ancestors whisper in our ear to stop. You know, that's how we know it's enough seasoning, enough liquid, or whatever. But obviously, you can't do that when you're baking. So, let's see what we got. Get a little ham, a little cornbread, a little beans. I would show y'all my face, but I got my bonnet on and everything. It's my day off. So, I did have to run that quick errand, but I was just in and out. So, I took my bonnet off for that. As soon as I got home, took that bra off, put this bonnet back on. Oh, man. Look at these beans, though. I don't know if y'all can see that, how it's smashing. They're done. Like, they're perfectly tender, but they're firm. Sometimes I like to smash some of them up to add to the thickness in the pot, but I'm not even studying all of that. And it'll probably be thicker tomorrow, too. Oh, my goodness. I definitely would prefer, like, a from scratch yellow cornbread with this over Jiffy. But it's good. Anyway, I'm going to try to put all this together. I'm going to use the InShot app. I don't like editing videos. It's complicated. I would have tried to do this all in one take, but I did want to try to see how they came out. And I want to know if you've tried it before, if you would try it. What's your favorite beans? Do you even feel like beans taste different? I feel like navy beans and northern beans are creamier than like red beans. That might be all in my head just because they are white or lighter colored. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, I'm about to eat this. It's Thursday. I'm about to watch Good Place in about, 15 minutes. After that, I'm going to throw these potatoes in the oven. Make this chicken. Hopefully be done in time to watch Law and Order SVU. Oh my goodness. Pack up my dash stuff. Get all this in the refrigerator. Alright. Let me know. Would you try it? Have you heard of it? Are you concerned about not soaking or whatever? I know some people soak to get rid of that gassy effect. But I don't really get gas from beans like that. So I don't soak them overnight for 6 hours. I don't boil them for a minute and then let them sit on the water for an hour or whatever. Like I'm telling you, once I read this article, and it was years ago, I read this article about just cooking them in the oven. Talking about a game changer. So yeah, I really had to figure out how to tweak it as far as get my meat to cook and render and tenderize the way I wanted to before I actually put the beans in there and throw it in the oven. Because that still just takes time. But man, I put my aunt on this, my aunt's friend. And now this is the only way they make their beans, in the oven. And it's perfect when you have a Dutch oven. You can do it in a bigger pan too, like if you have a lid or some foil. I just feel like the Dutch oven is obviously safe for, you know, oven cooking as well as stove tops. You can do that transfer back and forth really easy. Because like if you would use a roasting pan or whatever else, you still got to kind of start it out on the stove, especially if you're doing some type of meat that you want to render and cook down. Oh my God. But I'm going to look for the article. I don't remember if it was... I'll just Google it and see if I can find it. Alright. Let's eat. Go upstairs.